Good day, future doctors and medical technologies. Welcome back again to another episode of Histopathology Lecture with me, Sir Neil. I'll be your professor for today. So today we're going to talk about the histopath topic, lecture number 4, titled Inflammation. So I know everyone is familiar with inflammation because this is something that happened to us. No, this is the universal body's response against harmful agents, no, to protect our body. Okay, so lahat tayo siguro guys naka-experience ito because in Tagalog, inflammation means pamamaga. Okay, so let's talk about more about inflammation. So in this topic, you'll learn more how does inflammation happens, no, what are the cardinal signs and more. Okay, so let's start. So, ano nga ba inflammation? Inflammation is referring to response of a cell to injurious agent or tissue damage by stimuli like tissue necrosis caused by microorganism. Universal response to tissue damage by a wide range of harmful stimuli including mechanical trauma, tissue necrosis, and infection. Okay, so it may be beneficial or harmful. So, paano nga ba yan? Remember po that inflammation is not a disease but a response to injury. It should always lead to recovery. So, remember po that inflammation should always lead to recovery. However, since sometimes the damage continue to persist, yung kanang dili dyan siya makakaya pugnan or makaya ng body natin o malabanan, it leads to harmful effects. That's why it is stated here that inflammation may be beneficial or harmful. So let's talk about first the functions of inflammation or the benefits it gives to us. No, it contains damage and isolate injury. Of course naman, no, kung saan ka nasugatan, most likely dyan din na area kung yung magkakaroon ng inflammation or dyan din na area yung mamaga. Remember din that in inflammation, it destroys the cause of injury. So, it might destroy microorganisms, toxins, no, viruses, and such. It also destroys resulting necrotic cells and tissues. Remember po, if there is an inflammation that is happening, if merong injury stimuli, sometimes it can lead to tissue destruction. Okay? So, and sometimes those tissue destructions na nangyayari can cause cells to necrotize or to undergo necrosis, and this inflammation process tends to clean up those debris, those areas para dili siya mag-proceed into much bigger damage. And lastly, after the inflammation, it prepares tissue for healing and repair. Most likely after na nangyari yung isang pagkasugat sa atin, the body tends to heal and repair after. Okay, so there are also harmful effects. So remember po, inflammation, ideally, it should always lead to recovery, but if the damage persists, there will be some harmful effects such as digestion of normal tissues, okay, swelling, and ito yung pinakagrabe so far, that we have experienced recently, due to the COVID pandemic, the inappropriate inflammatory response. In inappropriate inflammatory response, remember po that the body overreacts, with the stimuli or the agent na nakapasok sa body natin. Like for example, in the case of COVID-19, since the virus is so new, the body is still not familiar with the virus. So, lahat ng inflammatory response po, ginagawa niya, OA yung inflammatory response. And sometimes that OA na pagka-inflammatory response, ang effect sa atin is, pansinin niyo sa mga taong may COVID, that the patient is tinutubuhan na sila. Kasi nga, sobrang OA yung response ng body, ang inflammation sa lung area is too much, there is an overaccumulation of fluid, and yun, kaya nagbabara, kaya sila tinutubuhan, Okay, so these are inappropriate inflammatory response. Ano pa ang example nito? Another example of this is yung pag makakain po tayo ng mga food na hindi pwede sa atin, like we are allergic sa food na yun. So, magkakaroon ng allergic response. Allergic response po is an example of inflammatory response to which the body overreacts again, causing now blockage in the airways, hindi makahinga yung tao, namumula yung skin. Yeah, those are example of inflammations din po. And those are very harmful. Okay? And they are inappropriate inflammatory response. Okay? So, let's talk about what are the cardinal signs of inflammation. So, when we say cardinal signs, these are historically na mga signs. Ibig sabihin, noong unang panahon po sila na napansin na or nailathala na po. Okay, so dati meron tayong 4. This is according to Celsus, and recently dinagdag ni Sir Rudolf Virchow yung 5. Okay, ano yung 4 according to Celsus? We have rubor, calor, tumor, dolor, and according kay Virchow, dagdag natin sa functional isa. Okay, so in a normal inflammatory response, if it does not lead to necrosis, no, hanggang dito lang po yan, no. Rubor, calor, tumor, dolor. Functional isa was added because sometimes, because of that pagkasugat, or because of that point of injurious stimuli, no, it can lead to loss of function of that particular organ. So that's why na-observe ni Virchow na okay, meron pa palang panglima, and that is loss of function. Okay, so you need to memorize this Latin terminologies, okay, as well as their English counterpart. So rubor means redness, calor means heat, tumor means swelling, dolor means pain, and punctualisa means loss of function. Okay, so let's try to explain ano nga ba yan sila. So remember po, no, for example, this particular diagram represents, no, accurately represents kung paano nangyari sa inflammation. So if there is a tissue injury caused by either physical, chemical agent, or pathogenic microorganism, di ba marami tayong causes of cellular injury. So if all those things, no, mangyari sa atin, no, ito yung unang response ng body. Okay, so ang response ng body dyan is there will be a capillary widening. So ibig sabihin, no, there will be a vasodilation, no, lalaki yung mga blood vessel natin, capillary widening, causing now increased amount of, yes, very good, increased amount of blood in the blood vessel. Okay, if there is increased amount of blood vessel, no, there will be an increased blood flow, causing now yung heat. Okay, if there is increased amount of blood flow, it will give yung sensation of heat. Okay, so another thing is that there will be an increased permeability of the capillary. So mas mabilis makalabas-pasok or maka-perform ng tinatawag natin diapedesis ang ating WBC. Okay, para mas mabilis sila makapunta sa site ng infection. Okay, so itong act na ginagawa dito ng WBC natin, no, that is what we call diapedesis. Okay, so if there is also an increased permeability po, no, para sa WBC natin makapasok, it will also cause, no, fluid release into the tissue. So those fluid now will cause swelling. Okay, will cause swelling sa area. Okay, that's why isipin po ninyo, if there is a physical trauma, kung saan ka sinuntok, dyan talaga yung, di ba, namamaga dyan sa area na yan, yung parang magburot or mag-swell. Okay, ang nag-cause niyan is the increased permeability. Okay, so yung tinatawag natin na redness or that rubor, no, is in partner na siya with the heat, no. It's because there is an increased increased blood flow, and because there is a capillary widening. Kapag madami ng RBC sa area, no, it would produce heat. At the same time, it would also produce redness. Okay, another thing, no, once na nasa area na yung siguro few WBCs natin, the first one to arrive is usually neutrophils. It will attract more leukocytes. No, leukocyte is another term for your WBCs. Okay, so those WBCs now will be attracted to the area. Okay, will be attracted to the area through the use of extravasation. Okay, extravasation of leukocyte to the injury, causing now the tenderness feeling. Okay, causing now tenderness feeling. And then after some time, if marami ng WBC sa area, they will try to fight the microorganism or whatever is causing the inflammation po, no? That is what we call a systemic response, causing now a fever reaction. Okay, since remember po, di ba, pag nag-fever po tayo is tumataas po yung body temperature natin. And ang nag-cause po ng body temperature natin na tumaas is yung heat po na nandito sa initial part. Okay, so that's why isa rin sa body's response natin is magka-fever po. No, be glad if you are experiencing fever because you'll know that your body is still responding to injurious stimuli. Okay, whether you are experiencing pain, di ba, yung masakit yung pangangatawan natin nga, di ba, luya man dyan pag ka ng may fever ta. Yeah, that is very, very normal po. Because that is the normal body response. Okay, so we're going to take a look po dito sa ating diagram dito, no. We have the injury there. Rubor and calor are together, followed by tumor, no, mamamaga siya. Okay, and then we have the dolor, no, ma-feel na nimo ang pain, and then there will be a scab. Okay, so there will be a the loss of function may be temporary because the body will still try to repair, di ba? Repair and regrow kung ano yung nawala or regenerate kung ano yung nasira na area. But in most extreme cases po, like for example in frostbites, yung mga dry gangrene, no, medyo the loss of function is permanent na po. Okay, so these are the cardinal signs of inflammation. Usually, nangyari talaga to sila guys eh. Nangyari to sila. Okay? So, let's talk about the components of inflammation, no? We have two components of inflammation that can happen simultaneously. Okay? Simultaneously na mangyari. Okay? We have vascular reaction and cellular response. So, we have a vasoconstriction that occurs first and lasts only for 5 seconds, no? We have a vasoconstriction followed by your vasodilation. Okay? And then, endothelial activation. So, remember po, in vasoconstriction, no, ito yung question natin na minsan matanong, sir, if nag-vasodilate, mauna kasi mag-capillary widening, bakit mas mauna si vasoconstriction? Vasoconstriction happen for only short, no, short amount of time, no, last only 4 seconds. Last only 4 seconds. Why? Because it signals the start of inflammation po, no, the start of inflammation. Okay? Mag-vasoconstrict kadali ang blood vessel and then diretso na siya for vasodilation. Okay, in vasodilation, there will be an increased diameter of blood vessels. Therefore, there will be an increased blood flow to the area, causing now yung tinatawag natin na erythema, where there is heat and redness, no, the calor and rubor on the site of infection. That is what we call erythema. An increased blood flow to an area is what we call erythema. Erythema also is the combination of calor and rubor, no? Heat and redness to the site of infection. Okay, after that, there will be endothelial activation, no? There will be an increased vascular permeability of your blood vessel, causing now edema if OA na masyado yung pamamaga, no? These are extravasation of liquid portion of the blood. Remember po that your blood is also composed of a liquid portion that is found in your plasma, and those liquid portions now will tend to leak to the tissue, okay, tissue of the body, okay, causing now edema, and that is what we call endothelial activation. Siya yung nag-cause na mag-increase yung permeability ng ating blood vessel po. Okay, another thing is the cellular response. Cellular response, okay, this cellular response po is the neutrophil activation to which WBCs enter the site of injuries. Okay, the site of injury. These neutrophils, gaya sinabi ko, sila yung pinakauna mapunta sa area. They will kill the organism. They will mop the debris, no? Lahat gagawin nila. They also release chemokines or chemokines. Bahala kayo kung however you pronounce the word, no? So, itong chemokines po, we will not be too specific kung anong klase po, no? Kasi you're still in your second years. But remember, these are substances that attracts other immune substances to the site of inflammation. Dito na papasok yung inappropriate inflammatory response, because ideally po, no, if there is an infection, for example, diba, you have learned this in your parasitology, diba, na pag parasite, most likely the WBC needed is eosinophil, okay? Pero in this case po ng sa neutrophil activation natin, no, pag makita ng neutrophil na merong let's say bacteria, okay? Normally the neutrophil is able to kill the bacteria po, no, but it will try to call help po. Other neutrophils naman or other WBC will come to help. Okay? However, in the case po ng inappropriate inflammatory response, no, yung ma-release po kasi ng mga substances that will attract other immune substances is too much. OA yung immune response. Kaya, nagkakaroon ng extreme, no, nagiging crowded po yung site ng infection, causing now a blockage po, no. That's why yung mga patient na gina-COVID-19 is ginatubuhan talaga sila. Kasi at that time, OA po talaga yung response ng body natin, no. Hindi alam ng body kung anong gagawin, anong response anong tamang WBC or immune substance po yung pupunta sa area. But nowadays, since we are now fully vaccinated naman against the COVID-19, the body now knows what to do, no, in case na makakontak tayo. That's why if you can see, wala masyadong issue about COVID. Wala na mga natutubuhan masyado sa COVID because the body is now responding well. Okay? But in a normal inflammatory response, no, alam na ng body kung ano yung tama na WBC or tama po na immune substance ang dapat pupunta sa sign. Okay, so I have a good diagram here, no? The sequential steps of a typical inflammatory response. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga normal po na nangyari. Okay, so remember po, in this sequential steps, no, dapat sunod-sunod po ito sila. So, since sequential siya, dapat pasunod po, no? These are the 5R. 5R, recognition, recruitment, removal, regulation, and repair. So remember po, no? So there will be a recognition by the tissue resident sentinel cell. So since we are talking about tissue resident, no? Diyan papasok sila macrophage ninyo. Tama? Tama. Okay, this macrophage now will recognize, no, the type of microbe na papasok, the type of injury stimuli na nakasira ng tissue, because this stimuli, no, injury stimuli po that can cause cellular injury really will attract po talaga, will attract yung ating mga immune response po. Okay? So after that, no, ma-recognize nila kung anong pumasok. Let's say for example, ang pumasok is microbes po, no? After that, itong gusto ko bigyan ng pansin nyo dito for the number 1, recognition of tissue resident cell, is itong dendritic cell. This dendritic cell po, or dendritic cell, po, this type of cell, meron silang tinatawag natin na memory. Okay? Memory. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng na-encounter natin na mga inflammatory response, ay na mga injury stimuli, yung mga viruses from the past, no? Lahat yan sila, naka-store yan sila sa memory ng dendritic cell. So, the dendritic cell now will know what type of WBC ang tatawagin. Alam nila, kung amoeba ka na dati, alam nila na tatawagin na cell is eosinophil. Okay? So, kabalo na sila. Okay, they will the one who will decide what type of WBC ang tatawagin. So, in this particular case, let's say for example, these are microbes po, diba, mga microbes. So, these microbes now, since these are, let's say, bacteria po, the dendritic cell will recognize it. Oh, okay, bacteria siya. So, we'll try to call WBC such as your monocyte, your neutrophil. So, tatawagin sila. We have the monocyte, no? Granulocyte, no? Example ng granulocyte is your neutrophil. So, other granulocytes will be your neutrophil, basophil, and eosinophil. Aside from that, no, hindi lang po WBC yung immune response natin. That's why sabi ko sa inyo always is marami pa. No? We have the WBC, we have the complement system. Marami po talaga tayong immune response. Okay? So, the complement po ito sila, the plasma proteins. Also, platelets will now be called sa area because there is a tissue damage. So, the platelets are expected to be there. Okay? So, after that, there will be a removal of the stimulus or the elimination of microbes, dead tissue, and all. So, the macrophages, the neutrophils po, or the granulocytes will now do their job, no, to kill, to eat, kung ano yung mga dapat nilang kainin. Okay? After that, there will be a regulation po, no, regulation po ng ating response. So, as they do the, as the the soldiers of the body do the removal of stimulus or elimination of the microbes, there will also be a regulation of response. Habang bumababa po yung mga kalaban, no, gina-start na po regulate yung mga soldiers na pinapapunta sa area. Okay? After that, if wala na pong area, wala na pong mga microbes or injurious stimuli, okay, the body now can start facilitating the repair. Okay? One of the best, most common po na cell na ginagamit if there is tissue damage po is the fibroblast, because this fibroblast makes the extracellular matrix protein po, no, lalo na sa connective tissue, no, they are the ones who makes your connective tissue, makes your tissue, diba? Okay, those are fibroblasts po. Remember, fibroblast is the activated form, fibrocyte is the inactivated form or the immature form. Okay, so sila yung mag-facilitate ng repair, okay, para at least mag-heal po yung sugat natin. Okay, this fibroblast works hand in hand with the platelets, no, para ma-stop yung blood clot if meron ba, and this response will start to initiate repair and heal the body. Okay, so these are sequential steps. So these are steps na dapat alam ninyo yung pagkakasunod-sunod niya. Okay, so this is just a typical scenario po ng inflammatory response, no. Marami pa pong pwedeng response, no, na nangyayari, no, depende po sa scenario talaga. Okay, so in the case of COVID po na nabanggit ko kanina, the body fails to recognize yung COVID virus kasi nga bago pa. So the dendritic cell does not know what to send, no, what troop to send. So ibig sabihin lahat i-send niya. So ibig sabihin if lahat i-send niya, lahat mag-crowd doon sa area, causing now blockage of the respiratory system. That's why ginatubuhan po yung mga may COVID. Yes po. Okay, so let's talk about the classification of inflammation according to duration and location. So, remember po, no, inflammation may be acute, chronic, or subacute. So, remember, when we say acute, there is a sudden onset, usually mild and sub-limiting. Okay? And usually, if there is an acute inflammation, ito yung sabi ko, since the neutrophil is kaya niya lang naman patayin if mga simple bacteria lang po, no? Usually, the involved po dito ng mga WBC would be the neutrophil. For the chronic one is medyo complex na, hindi na kaya ng neutrophil. That's why umaabot na sa point na tatawag na sila ng extreme na mga WBC. So that's why monocytes are involved here. Okay, monocytes are involved here. Remember din po that in acute, that's why mabilis lang siya because the lifespan of your neutrophil is merely days lang po, no? 1 to 5 days. Okay, whereas your monocytes have a longer lifespan than your neutrophils. Okay? So, remember po, we also have this tinatawag natin na subacute or subchronic. This is a intermediate between acute and chronic. So, ibig sabihin, kailan nagkakaroon ng subacute and subchronic, sir? Subacute and subchronic happens, no? In between. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung window na kung saan we know that yung time na nagpa-check up ka is neutrophil yung mataas. Okay? And then, after a while, let's say siguro 3 days later, no, hindi pa siya makonsider as chronic, nagpa-check up ka, your neutrophil starts to go down, and then your monocytes start to, hindi man yung OA ang taas, pero starts to climb up po. Yan po yung time masabi niyo na subacute po yung ating, or subchronic po yung ating inflammation. Okay, but usually guys, no, dili kayo gina-consider ito siya na term because this is too ambiguous and this is subjective po. Okay, we also have yung tinatawag natin na inflammation according to location, no? We have a localized inflammation, which means the inflammation happens only on one site. It is not widespread. Example nito is yung ating pimple. Okay, like for example, on one side lang siya, one side of the face. Okay, example yan is yung pimple. Okay, for a generalized naman na or systemic na inflammation, this is where a whole organ or area of tissue is affected, no? And it can affect several organs of the body. It can affect several organs of the body. Okay, best example po ng generalized or systemic natin is yung tinatawag natin na gingivitis. Okay, because gingivitis can lead to different types of inflammation. Okay, so nakatry na po ba kayo na magkaroon kayo ng initially, no, at the start is nagkaroon na kayo ng simple sore throat. From that sore throat, nagkaroon na kayo ng ubo, sipon. Okay, so ibig sabihin from the infection or inflammation in the mouth, no, wala siya na contain, bumaba sa ating upper respiratory tract yung ating infection. Kaya tayo inuubo. Okay, and then sinisipon. Okay, so for the case of gingivitis po, it can be considered a generalized infection because it can lead to multiple, no, a plethora of diseases. Okay, so we also have these inflammations according to character of exudate. So remember po guys, no, that when you say exudates, these are fluids, no, cells or other substances that are slowly discharged from blood vessels, usually from inflamed tissues. Okay, when you say exudates po, these are yung mga, di ba, alaman natin sa blood vessels, meron po tayong mga tissue fluids na ma-release because meron na tayo yung increased permeability. Okay, so when you say exudates po, these are fluids, cells, or other cellular substances that are slowly discharged from blood vessels. These are usually coming from inflamed tissue. Meron din tayong tinatawag na transudates, but that will be further explained po sa inyo, no, when you go to with your AUBF pohon. Okay, but for now, no, understand that inflammation can be classified according to the character of exudate, no. Anong klaseng inflammation ba siya? Okay, based on the discharge na ginarelease niya. Okay, so we have a serous inflammation to which the exudate is watery and protein poor. So best example po nito is, 'di ba, watery, no, and protein poor. So ibig sabihin, itong best example niya is skin blisters. Kanang pag mapasok ta, 'di ba? Pag mapasok ta, 'di ba, maburot man ang area kung asa ta napasok, tapos murag na ay tubig. Tapos kita pod kay tuslukon pod nato, no, pagawas na nato tubig tapos hapdos na siya. That is an example of a serous exudate, no, serous inflammation. Okay, to which the exudate na present is serous. We also have the fibrinous one, which is a protein rich because there is the presence of fibrinogen, yes po. Best example po nito is adhesions following surgery. Remember po, no, na when we undergo surgery, no, the body will tend to heal, no, kasi heal by means of kanang platelet niya mag-work sila, the coagulation factors will be activated, causing now increased amount of fibrinogen. And this increased amount of fibrinogen po tend to make fibrinous exudate. And that is an example of a fibrinous inflammation. We also have yung tinatawag natin na catarrh, okay, which is composed of composed of mucus and debris, okay, and mucus and debris, so for example ito is yung sa runny nose, no, as with common colds, diba? Pag meron tayong runny nose po, ideally pag meron kang runny nose, namamaga po yung area ng ilong po natin, and yung pamamaga niya, ang nilalabas po na tissue juice is in the form of catarrh po na exudate. Okay, so, ayan po siya. Ayan, runny nose. Okay, we also have yung suppurative or the purulent, no, which is composed of pus or yung tinatawag natin na nana. It is composed of dead neutrophils, no, necrotic cells, and edema fluid. So, remember po, kapag, hindi ganun kadami yung pus, no, like for example, sa pimple natin, di ba, pag may nana dyan sa area, no, that is only pus. When you say malaki na masyado yung area ng napektuhan, no, na meron ng collection of pus, that is what we call abscess. Okay, abscess. So remember, those purulent exudate, no, will have a yellow or green opaque discharge. Example nito is yung abscesses, boils, no, cellulitis. Okay, and the pinaka-last one, most common na alam ko na familiar kayo is the hemorrhagic, to which instead of the tissue juice po yung nagalik, ang nagalik po is RBC. Okay, for example po nito is yung hematoma. For example, pag nagka-hematoma ka, after mo kunan ng dugo, di ba, let's say, masyadong mali po yung blood extraction, okay? So, kung mali yung blood extraction, the RBC tends to leak out sa blood vessel. Di ba, remember po, exudate is a product to which there is a leakage in the blood vessel po. Tama? Okay, so since yun yung definition niya, therefore, we can deduce that when you say hemorrhagic leakage po, no, hemorrhagic na exudate, okay, the RBC is the one leaking po sa blood vessels. Best example po nito po na gusto kong maano sa inyo is yung tinatawag natin na dengue fever. Okay? When you say dengue fever, it is a fever po na caused by the dengue, no? May dengue ka, then gina-fever ka. That is normal po. Ang mas delikado na form po ng dengue fever is yung tinatawag natin na dengue hemorrhagic fever. Ito na po yung delikado. Why? Because meron ka namang dengue and then meron ka namang fever, and then the same time, your blood vessels po is leaking RBCs. No? Ito na yung time na pag meron ng dengue hemorrhagic fever po yung ating pasyente is ginasunggo na sila. There is epistaxis or yung pagdurugo ng ilong. Okay? So, ibig sabihin po, the RBC leak, no? Outside, leak out of the blood vessel to the tissues, no? Causing now hemorrhagic outcome, no? That's why it is called dengue hemorrhagic fever. So, if ever na meron tayo kakilala na may dengue fever, wag natin antayin na magkaroon pa sila ng dengue hemorrhagic fever. Okay? So, I hope marami po kayong na-learn in today's lesson. So, once again, this is Histopath topic lecture number 4. So, I hope na again, you'll be able to review this again, study, no? And marami kayong na-learn. So, thank you so much for listening, guys. God bless.